You think the life you're living is yours, but it isn't. You think you are safe because you have ignored the voice that whispered in your dreams, but that whisper was me. I am Michael, the Archangel, and I tell you this truth now. The warning you ignored was never just a thought, never just a coincidence. It was the only thing that could have saved your life. And because you did not listen, the shadow that was once far behind you now stands at your very door. You live your life as if every breath belongs to you. You walk through the hours as if tomorrow is guaranteed. But I tell you now, tomorrow is never promised. And the signs that were placed before you, they were not random. They were not meaningless. They were the only shield standing between you and the darkness that waits for you. I am Michael, the Archangel, and I have come to speak not to your mind, but to your spirit. For your spirit already knows what your mind has tried to forget. Do you remember the dream that shook you awake at night? The one that made your heart thunder against your chest? You told yourself it was just a dream, nothing more. But I tell you, that dream was a doorway, a warning sent from heaven to keep you alive. And when you laughed it off, when you turned away from it, you left that doorway open, wide enough for something else to step through. How many times have you felt it? The sudden chill when you were alone in your room. The shadow that seemed to move just beyond your vision. The voice that whispered your name, though no one stood beside you. You convinced yourself it was imagination, a trick of the mind, fatigue, coincidence. But I tell you, there is no coincidence in the language of eternity. Every whisper, every shadow, every sudden fear that made your skin crawl was me warning you, and you ignored it. There are moments in your past you do not speak about, moments where you escaped death though you should not have. The car that almost struck you but swerved at the last second, the fall that should have broken you but left you standing, the illness that touched you but did not claim you. You called it luck, but I was there. I, Michael, held back the blade, stopped the wheel, pushed away the shadow. And each time I saved you, I left you with a sign, so you would know that your life was not yours alone. But you did not see. You did not hear. You ignored the very warnings that were carved into your days. And now, as I speak, you feel it again. That restless stirring inside your chest, that heaviness in the air around you, that feeling that someone is watching, waiting, drawing closer. You call it fear, but I call it truth. The shadow that once followed you at a distance is no longer behind you. It has come closer, because the warning you ignored was the only barrier between you and it. And tonight, that barrier is gone. You think you walk alone. You think the ground beneath your feet belongs only to you. But every step you take, another walks beside you, unseen, silent, patient. It is not your friend. It is not your guardian. It is the shadow of death, assigned to you from the day you were born. Listen carefully. When the heavens write the story of a soul, two things are always sealed: the breath you take to enter this world and the breath you take to leave it. Death is not a stranger. It is a companion. It follows you through your childhood laughter, through your youth, through every mistake, every joy, every secret night. It never leaves, it only waits. But you were given a gift. Warnings, moments to prepare, to turn, to escape. When you felt uneasy walking down a road and turned away at the last second, that was me. When you delayed a journey and later discovered disaster had struck where you would have been, that was me. When you stayed home after hearing a voice whisper, "Don't go," that was me. I placed barriers between you and your shadow. I pushed it back, held it away, delayed its reach. But what happens when the warnings are ignored? What happens when the voice is silenced, when the signs are dismissed? Then the shadow grows bold. It no longer lingers at the corner of your vision. It steps closer. It walks beside you. It leans over your shoulder, studying your every breath, waiting for the moment to strike. Do you feel it now? That weight pressing on your chest in the night. That sudden silence in the room when all sound fades, as if time itself has paused. That sharp shiver that runs down your spine for no reason. That is not imagination. That is not the cold air. That is the shadow brushing against you. I tell you this truth. Death does not always come as a roar. Sometimes it comes as a whisper. It follows you home, sits at the edge of your bed, breathes at your ear. And when you wake with your heart pounding, when your mind screams something is wrong, you are not wrong. You are sensing the one who has always been near. And tonight, as I speak, your shadow listens too, for it knows I am revealing what you were never meant to ignore. It knows I am stripping away the illusion, so you can no longer pretend you are safe. The shadow is not in front of you, not behind you. It is beside you now, step for step, breath for breath. And the question that remains is this: when the final moment comes, will you be ready? Or will you realize too late that the warning you ignored was the only thing that could have saved your life?
There is a night written for you. Not just any night, not just another passing hour, but the night. The one where the silence of the world bends toward your name, the one where heaven and earth pause, and the shadow that has walked beside you finally steps forward. That night is your night of reckoning. Do you think you choose the hour of your end? Do you believe that by hiding, by running, by distracting yourself with the noise of this world, you can escape what is already written? No. Every soul carries a calendar, not made of paper, but of eternity. On it there is a date, a moment sealed before your first cry was heard in this world. But what you do not understand is this: that date can bend. It can shift closer or be pushed further. Every choice you make, every warning you heed or ignore, changes how near the shadow stands. Some were meant to live longer, but by ignoring the signs, their night came early. Others were destined for an early end, but by listening, by obeying the call, they walked past death untouched, living years they were never meant to have. The night of reckoning is not sudden. It announces itself through dreams that unsettle your sleep, through voices you hear when no one is there, through the sharp intuition that screams, "Don't go, don't speak, don't trust." But you ignored it. And so now the night comes nearer. Picture this. You are sitting in your room. The clock strikes an hour you cannot forget. The air grows heavy, though no window is open. The shadows in the corners deepen, stretching like hands reaching across the walls. You hear a faint sound, like footsteps, but softer, like the brush of fabric against the floor. Your heart begins to race. You tell yourself, "It's nothing, just my mind," but it is not your mind. It is your shadow entering the room. On the night of reckoning, there is no escape, no running, no hiding, no denial. The shadow does not knock, it does not ask permission, it claims what it has waited for. And yet I, Michael, stand here still, because though the shadow draws near, mercy also draws near. The same heaven that wrote your end wrote also the warnings to save you. You were not abandoned. You were not left defenseless. You were called again and again to listen. But now listen carefully. The night of reckoning is not only about death, it is about truth. On that night, everything hidden will be revealed. The lies you believed, the people you trusted, the secrets you buried deep within yourself, all rise to the surface, and you will see not just death approaching, but the truth of who you are and what you ignored. So I ask you, when the shadow steps forward on your night of reckoning, will you cower in fear, crying out for the warnings you dismissed? Or will you finally awaken, realizing that every sign, every whisper, every dream you laughed away was heaven itself reaching to save you? The night comes, the shadow comes, and the question remains, will you be ready?
You believe death is the enemy, but I tell you, death is not the true enemy. The true enemy is ignorance. The ignorance that kept you blind when the truth was screaming all around you. The ignorance that made you call warnings superstition, dreams nonsense, and whispers mere imagination. The truth was always before you, but you closed your eyes, and now I must open them. I am Michael, the Archangel. I do not come with comfort, I come with revelation. And revelation cuts deeper than any sword, because it pierces not the flesh, but the soul. Do you know why you have felt pursued your entire life? Why danger has brushed against you again and again? Why, even in moments of joy, you sensed an invisible weight pressing at the edges of your existence? It is because you are marked. Yes, marked. From the day you were born, a struggle began. Heaven wrote your name into the book of destiny, and hell sought to erase it. Light claimed you, and darkness envied you. And so a shadow was assigned, not only to follow, but to tempt, to distract, to pull you away from the signs meant to save you.
Have you ever wondered why the warning always came before disaster? Because heaven never allows death to arrive without first offering a door of escape. That is the law written into eternity itself. But what did you do? You silenced the voice. You laughed at the dream. You shrugged at the feeling. You said, "It is nothing." And every time you said it is nothing, the shadow grew stronger, because to deny truth is to feed death. Now listen closely, for I reveal what was hidden. Not every warning you ignored came from me. Some came from those who loved you in silence, spirits of the departed who begged for your attention in dreams. Others came from the cries of your own soul, which saw what your eyes could not. And some came from the one who holds time in his hands. But you thought you were alone. You thought heaven had forgotten you. You thought the signs were random. And so the greatest deception was not that death followed you, but that you believed you were safe without listening. The truth is this: you were never safe on your own. Every day you live is borrowed. Every step you take is guarded. Every hour you survive is a mercy, not a right. And now that mercy trembles. The barrier that once stood strong is weakened because you refuse to hear. But hear me now. There is still a choice. Yes, the shadow waits. Yes, the night of reckoning approaches. But revelation is mercy. The truth spoken to you now is the door you still can walk through. And if you turn, if you awaken, if you finally see, the shadow may be delayed once more. The calendar of death may yet be rewritten. The hand that was stretched to take you may be forced to withdraw. The truth is before you. The warning is before you. And I, Michael, stand before you not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Because what you do with this revelation will decide whether you see another dawn.
You think the world around you is quiet. You think the silence of your nights, the calm of your days, means you are untouched. But listen to me. The silence is a lie. The calm is a mask. For around you, above you, beside you, even within you, a war is raging. A war unseen, yet more real than the ground beneath your feet. From the moment of your first breath, two armies moved. One clothed in light, holding swords of fire. The other cloaked in shadows, carrying chains of despair. And at the center of this battlefield stood you. You never asked for this war. You never saw it with your human eyes. But every time you felt torn between right and wrong, every time you were tempted toward destruction, every time danger came close but did not claim you, it was not coincidence, it was war. I, Michael, have stood in this battle longer than your years can count. I have struck down shadows that tried to touch you in the night. I have fought back death when it leaned too close. I have watched demons whisper lies into your ears, and I have spoken truth through the voices you ignored. Do you know why you survived the accident you should not have? Because swords of fire were drawn around you, while shadows clawed for your soul. Do you know why you escaped the sickness that nearly ended your life? Because heaven's hands fought against the grip of the grave.
Do you know why, in moments of despair, a sudden hope rose within you? Because your soul was not left undefended. Angels wrestled against the darkness until light touched you again. But there is something you must understand. This battle is not distant. It is not fought only in the heavens. It is fought in your choices, in your thoughts, in your very breath. When you dismiss a warning, when you ignore a sign, you strengthen the shadows. When you listen, when you turn, when you obey, you arm the angels who fight for you. The unseen war is constant. When you walk down a street at night and your heart races for no reason, it is because the shadows draw near and the angels close ranks around you. When you feel the sudden urge to change your path, to turn away, to wait instead of rushing forward, that is heaven whispering to save you. And when you refuse to listen, when you convince yourself that warnings are foolish, you leave cracks in your protection. Through those cracks, the shadow creeps closer. I must tell you what no one else dares to say. Some of you are alive right now only because unseen swords still hold back the hand of death. You think it is your strength, your cleverness, your good fortune, but it is not. If you could see the war fought above your head each time you sleep, if you could hear the clash of light and darkness at your window, you would never again call it coincidence. But the battle grows heavier now, for each warning ignored is like a weapon dropped to the ground. Each moment of disbelief feeds the shadow that waits for your soul. And soon, very soon, the balance will tip. On the day of your reckoning, the battle will no longer be about delay. It will be about decision. Light or darkness, life or death, mercy or finality. The unseen war is real, and though your eyes cannot see it, your soul feels it. The weight on your chest, the dreams that disturb your sleep, the whisper that calls your name, these are not illusions. They are echoes of the war fought for you every hour of your existence.
There comes a moment in every soul's journey when silence cannot protect you anymore, when ignorance cannot shield you, when delay is no longer possible. That moment is now. The shadow that has followed you stands at the threshold, and before you is a door. One path that leads to life, and another that leads to death. This is your final choice. All your life you believed you had time. You said, tomorrow I will change. Tomorrow I will listen. Tomorrow I will awaken. But tomorrow is the lie that death whispers in your ear to keep you asleep today. For when tomorrow comes, the shadow may already have entered, and what you thought would wait for you will no longer exist. Hear me well. The final choice is not made at your bedside. It is made in the secret places of your heart, in the moments when you decide whether to listen or to turn away. Every ignored whisper was a choice. Every dismissed sign was a choice. Every time you silenced your own trembling soul, you chose the shadow over the light. But even now,
Yes, even now, mercy stretches out its hand, for the final choice is still before you. Do you not feel it? The heaviness pressing on your spirit as I speak, the trembling inside you that says, these words are not just words. That is not fear. That is the truth calling you one last time. Do not be deceived. The shadow does not need to strike with violence. It can claim you slowly, through distraction, through denial, through endless waiting. And by the time you realize it has wrapped itself around you, it will be too late. That is why I speak now. That is why this message has found you at this exact moment, in this exact hour, because the choice cannot be delayed any longer. I, Michael, tell you plainly, the heavens are watching, the shadows are listening. The war pauses as your soul stands between two armies. One waits to rejoice at your awakening, the other waits to celebrate your downfall, and neither can claim you until you decide. You are not powerless. The final choice belongs to you. You can cling to denial, pretend the warnings were nothing, and let the shadow take its claim. Or you can awaken, listen, and step toward the light that has been fighting for you since your first breath. Picture it now. Two doors before you. One bathed in light so bright it blinds your eyes but warms your spirit. The other cloaked in shadows that whisper promises but chill your soul. You cannot stand between them forever. You must choose. This is the moment. This is the hour. This is your final choice. Life or death, light or darkness, awakening or silence. Which door will you walk through?
The time for silence is over. The time for waiting has ended. You have heard the warning. You have felt the weight. And now, heaven itself leans close to hear your answer. This is not just a story. This is not just a voice. This is the hand of eternity knocking at your soul. I am Michael, the Archangel. I have stood with flaming sword against armies of darkness. I have guarded thrones and torn down kingdoms. But the greatest battle I fight is not in the heavens. It is here, now, around you, for you. The shadow is still here. It has not left. It waits, patient, confident, believing you will ignore this moment as you ignored so many others. But if you ignore this, there will be no other. The calendar of your soul is near its turning point, and once the page turns, it cannot be undone. Do you remember the chills that chased your spine in the night? The whisper that called your name when no one was near? The dream that made you wake trembling in the dark? They were not accidents. They were not madness. They were me, shouting through silence, crying through shadows, fighting to awaken you before it was too late. But now, the final chance has come. Look around you. Do you not feel it? The heaviness in the air, the sense that someone is near you even now, listening to these very words with you. That is your shadow. But do not fear. For where the shadow listens, the light stands also. I am here. The armies of heaven are here, and they wait for your answer.
The verdict is not written by my hand, it is written by yours. Every breath you take from this moment will either strengthen the shadow that waits to claim you, or summon the light that longs to save you. You will not escape the choice, for no choice is a choice. Silence is surrender. Delay is defeat. But awakening is victory. So I call you now. Do not ignore me again. Do not laugh this away. Do not close this page and return to the noise of your life as if nothing was spoken. For you will remember these words on the night your shadow steps forward. And when that night comes, you will either say, I listened and I was spared, or you will whisper, I ignored the warning and it is too late. This is the final warning. This is the last call. This is the voice of Michael the Archangel declaring to you, awaken, choose, live.